It's just a matter of finding the spot where you push the magazine release in, turn the screw clockwise all the way, and the magazine release snaps back in. Now, here comes the fun part. Putting in the sear, the disconnect, and this little piece. These are quite difficult to put in because they're just held in with a pin, and it's a matter of getting everything aligned properly so that they fit. The best thing I found is to have a couple of punches or some small screwdrivers available to use as alignment tools. So now what's going to happen is the disconnect, which is this piece here, has a flat spot on it. This flat spot is going to go towards the front of the gun, and the sear, which is shaped like a C, it's curved. Okay, this is going to go in towards the back of the gun, like so. And this piece here goes in here on the side of the gun. And what this does is this piece here pushes against, or the trigger pushes against this piece, which causes a reaction to push up on another piece, which is aligned with the hammer. Here it is, and that pushes the plunger down, which lets the firing pin go forward when you pull the trigger. Now, putting the sear and the disconnect and this piece back in takes a lot of patience. So I found it's easy to have a pair of needle nose pliers or a pair of long tweezers in order to put them back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the sear and the disconnect. Okay, we're going to hold the disconnect again with the flat spot pointing towards the front of the gun and the sear towards the back of the gun. We're going to put them together like this. And you can see that. This is how they go together. It's kind of hard to see and hold everything together at the same time. And what I found is you get a pair of pliers, a pair of long needle nose pliers, and squeeze this together. Okay, now these are going to go into this hole right in here, which is kind of hard to see. Which I didn't even hit the hole with the. It's going to go into this hole, and it's just again a matter of patience, trying to align everything and get everything back in. So we're going to squeeze these two together with the pliers, and then you get it right. And it's best if you take your finger, put it over the hole, and then try to slide it into the hole. Okay, now this is where the punches come in. You want to take a thin punch and you want to put it in the hole on this side of the gun and wiggle it around and try to get everything aligned. And if it's aligned properly, the punch will come through the other side. You can shake the gun around, and if the sear and disconnect don't come out, you know you have it in right. Okay, now putting the next piece in is going to be this piece, and this is a real bugger to get in sometimes. This is basically going to sit in the gun facing with the, notice it also has like a C shape to it, but it's going to be sitting in, it's going to go into the gun in this direction. because this has to hit against the back of the trigger. And again, trying to get this in is quite difficult. But again, with patience, you can get it in. So we're going to take again our long tweezers, and we have to pull the pin out. We have to pull the punch out just enough so that we can get that to go in. And like I said, it's just a matter of patience. Okay, and it seems like it's in now. And you know you have it in right where now I still have the punch in here. If you pull the trigger back and everything moves around inside and nothing falls out. If you can see this. Okay, now this is where you need two punches because we have a thin punch in here. We're going to take a slightly heavier punch and push the thin punch out, trying to keep everything aligned, because eventually we have to put the actual pin that's going to hold all this together back into the gun. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this punch to push from right to left and push this punch out, still keeping everything aligned, hopefully. And you kind of got to wiggle and jiggle a little bit until it comes through. And it's because the punch is a little bit flared out here, it did come through. I pulled the trigger, I shake the gun while keeping pressure on this punch, and nothing is falling out. Now we're going to take the actual pin that holds this in and put it back in, and that would be this pin right here. And one of the good things with this is every pin is a different size, so you can't put the wrong pin in the wrong spot. So we're going to slide this in. We're going to slide this pin in on this side as we push, and then now we're going to move from right to left, and slowly push this pin in and wiggle things around to make sure everything stays in alignment. And it seems like it went in. Okay, and now you don't want to let that come out. And again, make sure, shake the gun. You have no pieces falling out. Make sure everything is together. Look inside here. Make sure everything's together. You have the disconnect, the sear, the hammer, and this pin, or this little arm here, is all being held together. Okay, and now the next thing, which is a little bit easier but still has a degree of difficulty, is putting in the hammer. Now the hammer itself goes in very easily. You just put a punch in, but you also have to put this piece in, which is also part of the Series 80's disconnect. So again, we're going to do the same thing with the punches. We're going to use a thin punch. Actually, use a little heavier punch. Let's make sure this one goes through. Yeah, this has got a bigger hole. Okay, we're going to put the hammer in, and that goes into the top hole. Put the punch through. Okay, and let the hammer come up a little bit. Actually, leave it. You can leave it down. And what's going to happen is this piece is now going to go inside here. It's going to basically sit in the gun like this, and it moves up and down as you pull the trigger. I just lost it. So we're going to basically do the same thing. We're going to grab this, but lean this over a little bit and grab a hold of this with the tweezers. Okay, and now we're going to pull the punch out just so it clears. Get it in the hole, push the punch through. Okay, and now with this punch in, technically when you pull the trigger, this little lever should now pop up. Magic. Okay, now again we're going to take another punch and push from right to left. Yeah. And push this punch through. Again, wiggling and jiggling to make sure that it goes through and nothing falls out. And then we're going to take the pin. Now this pin also is what holds the ambidextrous, part of the ambidextrous safety on. It holds it on this side. Okay, so we're going to make sure, and we notice this pin has a flange on it with a, and this side is flat with a little burr on it, which stops the pin from going in too far. It only lets the pin go in as far as it's allowed. So we push. So again, we're going to push this through from now moving from right to left, no, from left to right, and wiggle and jiggle. There we go. And now it went through. Okay. Now at this point, we have the hammer up. We're going to bring the hammer strut out of the way, and we're going to put the leaf spring in. Now I know there's a leaf spring around here somewhere. Here it is, right here. Okay, now the leaf spring has to kind of go in like this and then come back, and this flange here goes into the slot once it's seated. So we're going to raise it up a little bit. That's not right. And then it's going to seat that down and then bring the hammer strut back down. Okay, now at this point we're going to take the mainspring and put it back in. But the mainspring isn't going to go in all the way at this point. We're going to bring it in. Now the mainspring, there's a hole in the mainspring, you can see here, that has to align with the hammer strut. And if they're not aligned right, the gun will not work. This is sometimes just a matter of gravity.